Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be why you should never mow another man's lawn. I've got an email. This guy lived in the same building with a cute neighbor of his who also has a boyfriend that lives in the same building. And so he says over the last couple years, especially during the lockdowns, he felt like she had given him several indications that she was interested in him. But he said because of the lockdowns, and it seems like he was worried about catching the virus, that he didn't make a move or anything. And then so he sees this girl, and she's like, "Oh, I'm moving in with my boyfriend, and we're going to live together forever." So I don't know if that meant they were getting engaged, or getting married, or what. But not only that, but like on the day that she's moving in, he's still thinking, I got a chance with this girl. And then even after he moved in, he's like sending her letters and messages, which the boyfriend got a hold of. I don't know if he saw them or he picked them up or she showed them to him or what. But then he got a knock at his door and he looked through the peephole and it was the girl and her boyfriend, and he had the note in his hand. He didn't answer the door, but he's like, I think that one's gone forever. So the thing that you should never do is that you should never try to rip off another guy's girl. Never try to mow another dude's lawn, because if she cheats on him with you, eventually she'll do the same thing to you. And so as a man, you want to operate from a place of integrity. And like this guy, he's obviously kind of inexperienced and naive and just doing things. He's kind of clueless. And so it's a great email because this is what you don't want to do. Because now he never answered the door, and yet he lives in the same complex with the two of them. So what do you think is going to happen when they run into each other in the hallway? You think it's going to be a pleasant conversation? You think they're all going to be glad to run into each other or see one another? Probably not. So it's a good email of what not to do, ladies and gentlemen. So he says, Dear Corey Wayne, here I write you about this 28-year-old woman. There are a couple of events that happened recently and even today which convinced me that she might be lost forever. But never mind, everyone will learn from his mistakes and where I will try to get over it. Some short and fast background. The story began a year ago in the summer where I bumped into this gorgeous woman living in the same flat building. We began to chat, of course, where she showed interest in me. Since it was in lockdown time in Europe, I thought it would be wise not to make a move. I was waiting for a time where things would ease up a little and people would be allowed to come together again. But I was seeing her occasionally from time to time, and where we once were literally playing. Well, if you're so worried about the virus, why are you playing with this girl? It's kind of silly. Just sounds like he didn't have the guts to make a move, or I don't know if this is before he found out she had a boyfriend or what the deal was, or the boyfriend came along later. So he says 6 months later on, and I still haven't made a move. The reason was the TV news, which warned of all-time surges in COVID infections. That's part of the problem with us in the West, is that too many people still believe that the news is real. So now here we are in the summer of 2022, where I saw her again last July by coincidence and discovered that she went to live with her boyfriend during the month before. I mean, when you see something like that, it's like, game over. She's living with her boyfriend. But it's like he doesn't seem to care that she's got a boyfriend. He's thinking, well, she likes me, so she doesn't really want to be with her boyfriend. That's what he's telling himself. And so if you've got one-itis or you've seen one too many movies, you think, because a lot of movies are like that. Two people meet, but one or both people are involved in relationships with others, and then something happens, and then one person becomes single, or they start dating, they get together, guy gets the girl, then the guy loses the girl, guy wants the girl back, then eventually he gets her back, and they live happily ever after. But in the movies, boyfriends or husbands are, no big deal, just go for what you want. And when you see that enough times, by the time you grow up, you go, oh, well, maybe it was fate. Maybe it was meant to be. Maybe she was with the wrong person and I'm meant to be with her. And so you see how when you see that theme over and over in movies and TV, you think, oh, this is a good plan. I should definitely act upon this actionable life advice. And she also said that she's going to live with him forever after her vacation. And in his mind, he's going, I think I still got a chance. He says during her talk, she was looking at me in the eye with a big smile. And noticing that I was looking at her chest, she pretended to bend forward so that I would have a glimpse of her tiny and flat breasts. Her actions puzzled me and gave me the impression that she still might be interested in me. Oh, I'm going to go live with my boyfriend forever. But hey, I think she's interested in me. Anyway, the boyfriend's just don't worry about the boyfriend. It's totally cool. You can get her. Anyway, 2 days after that, I saw her again when she was finishing cleaning up her flat to go to her boyfriend's, which was also in our same building. She looked as if she were unhappy, or maybe it was a result of the heat wave and her bruised foot. At that moment, I thought I could still try to make a move. Oh, Jesus. Knowing nevertheless that it might be a bit late in view of the developments. You think? Never try to mow another man's lawn, dude. This is how you get beat up. So I've told this story a few times over the years, and so when my brother was in college, he was not waiting tables, but he was valeting at a restaurant. And so there was a cute girl, it was one of the hostesses there, and one of his friends that he worked with became friends with the hostess. Obviously, they liked each other. And so one night, he and the hostess went back to the hostess's place. And so as they're walking to her door, her ex-boyfriend happened to show up. And the ex-boyfriend shoots my brother's friend in the head, kills him, and then says, see what you made me do? And then he turns the gun on himself, and he literally blows his brains out right in front of her. And unfortunately, my brother's friend, I don't think any of them even knew about the fact that she had a boyfriend or a dude that was kind of stalking her or a little wacky or whatever. But my friend's just going over to her house, hang out, thinking, hey, this cute girl likes me. And he knew nothing about any ex-boyfriends in the background. So that's the extreme case that there are wackos out there, and that's why you don't mow another man's lawn. I don't know if, because again, this is like 20 years ago. I don't know if this, actually probably 25 years ago, I guess so. Damn, that was a long time ago. Whew, time flies. So, but I don't know how involved, or because like if I remember when my brother told me this story, it seemed as if nobody even knew about the boyfriend. Like it was a dude from the past or whatever, and he was stalking her, sitting out in his car, waiting for her to come home or whatever. And my brother's friend just like, hey, I'm about to get some action. And then that was the last thing he ever did. So like when you do stuff like this, it's like, come on, man, what are you thinking? How are you thinking that that's going to turn out good? Are you gonna? She's living with her boyfriend now. You're going to sneak around, have her, when the boyfriend's gone, she'll come over to your place? Why would you even want that? Why would you think that's a good idea? You want somebody who's single and ready to mingle, ready, willing, able, and open to dating you. So he says, so I slipped her a letter in her post office box asking her out. Instead of asking her out in person, which is masculine, you slide her a letter. Because on some level, you knew it wasn't going to go anywhere, but you did it anyway. He says, but well, funny things happen. Her great boyfriend found it and slipped an angry and a hilariously threatening letter in my own mailbox. Full of mistakes which showed how destabilized he was at that moment. Dude, you're trying to rip off his girl. Most guys don't take too kindly to that, especially when you're a neighbor and you live in the same building. And he finds out about the note. I don't know if he found it first or maybe he went and checked the mail. I mean, that's just kind of dumb. Slide into a mailbox that they both have access to. and going, yeah, I'm definitely sure that the girl I like is going to be the one that empties the mailbox out. So later this month, thinking I could go round the great boyfriend, I posted a message on her Facebook Messenger saying hello, trying to check her reaction. Since the messenger showed a hollow ball, I thought it would attract her attention to her Facebook by some way. So 2 days ago, I put a small paper under some item for her to find. No details to keep things short. So he's putting a letter somewhere where he thinks only she's going to find it now. Today, I heard a knock on the door, and through the peephole, I saw her standing outside with her playing angry boyfriend. I don't think he was playing angry, dude. So you notice he's just like, oh, this is all a big joke. This is funny, not a big deal. Ha, ha, ha. And my letter in her hand. So more than likely she saw it and she's like, hey, this dude won't leave me alone. And if she's showing her boyfriend these things, then she doesn't like or want your attention. I mean, it should have been a clue after you got the first angry letter, but it's like nothing deters this guy. He's like, hey, but I saw in a movie, the guy did it anyways. In the movie, the guy gets threatened by the husband and he goes away. And then she's like, no, you don't understand. We're not going to stay together. And maybe he's just seen one too many movies. So naive. He says, of course, it was a wee shock to me since I was having a different perception of the situation. You think? So after the first angry letter, you're like, oh, it's okay. I'll just proceed anyways. I'll just make sure to put the letter somewhere where only she's going to find it. He says, so my question, where the hell did I do something wrong where I was trying to stay cool and not needy? Or was it some unavoidable turn of circumstances? Dude, she had a boyfriend. She told you about the boyfriend. And it's like you act like it was like a non-issue because you've convinced yourself that she's interested in you. More than likely, from what it sounds like, she was just being nice. Or maybe last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was, maybe she was single back then. But at this point, she's literally, even as you go by her place and she's cleaning the last bits of things out because she's moving in with her boyfriend, you're like, yeah, I still got a chance. And then even after she's moved in, it's like, I definitely got a chance with her. I know she's living with her boyfriend, but I saw it in a movie once, Corey. You got to shoot your shot. That's just crazy. He says, P.S. I'm reading your very instructive book, which I downloaded. Well, at least you're reading the book because, again, you never try to mow another man's lawn. A dude showing up at your door is like, this doing things like this is how you get hurt. So don't be like this guy. Don't do this. So if you got a question or a challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.